I'm going to show you how to break free from people pleasing and reclaim your authentic voice without falling into the costly traps that keep most women stuck in this cycle for decades. And I'm going to reveal the one thing traditional therapy and self-help books completely miss about people pleasing, the thing that keeps so many women quietly suffering for years. I spent decades feeling like there was something fundamentally wrong with me, like everyone else got some manual on how to value themselves and know their worthiness that I somehow missed. But here's what I discovered working with many women and spending years with my horses. I created a transformational approach that helps guide women back to their true selves, free from the expectations, fears, and old stories that once kept them small. When I talk about bridling, I'm drawing from the world of horses. In thoughtful horsemanship, a horse learns to respond to gentle pressure while ideally staying connected to its spirit. But many of us as humans internalize the pressure around us so deeply that we began to bridle ourselves. We suppressed our true thoughts, emotions, and desires to stay safe, accepted, and loved by the people we depended on. The unbridling process is about gently loosening those old reins, healing the survival adaptations that once kept us safe, and reconnecting with our whole, worthy, soul-led self. So today I'm going to show you the 5 specific bridling patterns that are keeping you small, because you can't unbridle what you can't see. The first pattern is what I call voice reining. This is when you learn that your authentic voice, your real thoughts, feelings, and opinions were too much, too loud, or too inconvenient. Maybe you were the little girl who was told, good girls don't talk back, or stop being so dramatic. Maybe you learned that speaking up meant someone got angry, disappointed, or left. So you learn to rein in your voice to make it smaller, softer, more palatable. But here's the thing, when you constantly edit yourself, you don't just lose your voice, you lose your sense of self. Voice reining shows up as saying, I don't care, when you absolutely do. Staying silent in meetings when you have valuable input, or apologizing for having needs before you even express them. The second pattern is herd approval seeking. Horses are prey animals, and their survival depends on staying part of the herd. Being cast out means vulnerability and danger. And for women especially, we learn that belonging meant being useful, being helpful, being the one everyone could count on, even when it drained us and left us feeling empty. Herd approval seeking looks like taking on everyone else's problems as your own, feeling responsible for other people's emotions, or changing your entire personality, depending on who you're with, because rejection feels unbearable. You become addicted to being needed, because being needed feels like being loved. But it's not the same thing. The third pattern is safety seeking. This one's big. When you're a child, your survival depends entirely on the adults around you. So when those adults are unpredictable, moody, or emotionally volatile, you learn that your physical and emotional safety depends on keeping them happy. You became hypervigilant. You developed this internal radar that's constantly scanning. Are they mad? Are they disappointed? What do I need to do to make this okay? Safety seeking shows up as walking on eggshells around certain people, feeling responsible for managing everyone's emotions, or having panic attacks when someone seems upset with you, even when it has nothing to do with you. Your nervous system learned that your survival depended on keeping others happy, but you're not a child anymore, and other people's emotions are not your emergency. Pattern 4 is performance perfection. This is when you learned that love and acceptance were conditional on being good enough, smart enough, pretty enough, helpful enough, perfect enough. You became addicted to gold stars, to praise, to being the good one. But here's the cruel irony. The better you got at performing perfection, the more isolated you became from your authentic self. Because when you're constantly performing, you start to lose track of what you truly think, feel, and want. You're so focused on approval that you forget to check in with yourself. Who are you when no one is watching? What do you enjoy? It becomes hard to even know anymore. Performance perfection looks like burnout from trying to excel at everything, feeling like a fraud even when you're successful, or being paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes because mistakes might mean you're unlovable. You've been auditioning for love your entire life, but real love doesn't require a performance. And the fifth pattern is emotional caretaking. This is when you learn that you were responsible for managing other people's feelings, even at the expense of your own. Maybe you were the family peacekeeper. Maybe you learned that mom was happier when you took care of her emotions. Maybe you discovered that the best way to avoid conflict was to absorb everyone else's pain and make it your problem. Emotional caretaking shows up as feeling guilty when others are upset, sacrificing your own needs to keep the peace, or being unable to enjoy your happiness when someone else is struggling. But here's what nobody told you. You are not responsible for managing other people's emotional experience. You never were. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, oh my God, that's me, all of those are me. First of all, breathe. You're not broken. You adapted brilliantly to survive situations that required you to be small. But what served you then is bridling you now. And the beautiful thing about patterns, once you see them, you can change them. Just like a horse can have its bridle gently removed, you can learn to release these old patterns one by one. If this resonated with you, if you saw yourself in these patterns, I want you to know transformation is possible. I've walked this path myself, and I've guided many women through this unbridling journey. In the comments below, tell me which pattern hit the closest to home for you. Which one made you think, holy shit, that's exactly what I do. Don't just watch and scroll. Engage with this. Your voice matters. And if you're ready to go deeper, take my free quiz to discover your unique people-pleasing pattern, and download my Values Discovery Workbook to reconnect with what truly matters to you. Both links are in the description below. You were born wild and free. It's time to remember who you were before the world told you to be small. Take the quiz, grab the workbook, and start your unbridling journey today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.